And I'll start you first. Let's start at the end. As James was on your back, you walked across to your corner, I believe it was, and you gave the tongue out. Looking back now in hindsight, was that the smartest thing to do at that time?
I never really been honestly, in my 2 years of ever training, I was never really put in that position, so I didn't know really what to do in that position. So normally when you're in a really freaking sticky position, my mom always told me, laugh when you're in a hard situation. You just smile because things will get better. Hey, it didn't go my way. I didn't know really. My coach was like, dive head forward. I didn't really hear him say that, but it's okay. Next time when I go to the gym Monday, I will learn that type of situation and learn to work myself out of that position.
When you first came back into the media room, you were calling for a rematch. You think that's something you're going to push for, a rematch with James?
I mean, let's be honest. If James really wanted a rematch with me, it was hard for him to even take me down and even get me on the ground, hold me down. He couldn't strike with me. We all knew the outcome. If he would have stand and strike with me, most likely I would have won by decision. But he's not going to want the rematch. I know, even if I request it, he's not going to want the rematch. So what we're going to do is we're going to push the Pretty Boy Tour all the way to England and see what we can do over there.
You'll obviously look to ruffle a few feathers over in the UK as well. I was at the press conference on Wednesday. You got underneath the skin a little bit. His father got involved. You were talking about how he wasn't Irish. Is that something you're trying to get in his head, or you really believed all that? Or
I mean, my characters, I'm a very charismatic character. I really believe that. I'm not going to say nothing out of my mouth that doesn't make sense. Everything I pinpoint made sense as you see the reactions of him and his dad all over the news press. You're not Northern Ireland, but we're not going to get into that because, I hear things, But everything I say is real. I'm not going to sit up here and lie and say, hey, I'm a millionaire. We all know I'm not no goddamn millionaire, because if I was, I wouldn't be fighting for Bellator. I'd be sitting on my ass watching James Gallagher fight. But, I can't take nothing from the kid. He beat me fair and square, even though he got me off a stupid situation. But it's cool, though. But, it is what it is.
Exactly. You got to come back. You got to learn. Maybe a record obviously hasn't been pushed the right way, but you had said in the press conference as well that even if you did go 1-2, you were going to learn what you can from this fight. You took the opportunity, came into his hometown, fought him. It was an interesting fight. I thought you caught him with some good shots. He was catching with a lot of leg kicks as well. I thought you weren't checking enough of those. And then, of course, when it went to the ground, you were in a bad situation. He was on your back. As Noel said, probably not the best situation to walk with him across the cage when they're tired like that, but as I said, you haven't been in that position before, and I'm sure you'll learn from that.
Yeah, definitely learn from that position before. Again, next time if I do get in that position, it just means I got to work harder. I know my weaknesses now. Definitely go harder in the paint when it comes to submission holds. But I learned from that. Everybody know I'm not no pushover. They know, okay, he's the real deal if he work on this little situation. I'm just going to go back in there and work harder, get ready for the London tour, probably in May or June. I'm pretty sure if somebody wants to see me, get under somebody else's skin up in London. And there's a lot of prospect I see out there in London that I actually want to fight, but I'm not going to say no names yet.
You're going to wait a little while to call somebody out. Is that it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely want to wait, but I might put a sneak peek on Instagram or Facebook. Just keep a lookout.
And how have you enjoyed Ireland so far? You were talking about Tinder on Wednesday, talking about, you're enjoying all the Irish girls, what they possibly had to offer. What are you going to do tonight? What's up?
I mean, I got about 6 or 7 girls actually was meeting back to the hotel for a couple of drinks. I swear to God, if I had my phone, I would show you little hotties who want to hang out with me, but it's cool. I'm about to chill, relax, get a couple beers and drink. You never know where it leads to.
Reining it back into the fight and apart from your sexual exploits.
Hey, one-on-one, bro, let's go, baby. Overtime.
1-7 by the sound of it.
Yeah, true.
During the fight, you did land some combinations on James. You ever think that you had him hurt at any stage? Because you did land during the fight. There was some heavy shots that James took, and were you surprised that he could take them?
I mean, honestly, when you're fighting in that cage, the canvas can be really sticky, so you really can't really plant as you really can. Because if I was able to plant and sit down, a lot of times he would never got up. And when I did catch him, he fell down to the ground. You can see the power, but you can really see how slippy the canvas is. I can't make excuses on the canvas, but he has an okay chin. I should have threw more combinations. That's why he's mainly running, but I knew he was going to try to test me and be the more aggressor. I'm like, come on, man, you're not going to outpower me. So I was the aggressor. So, it's not much I can do as far as catching him, but I did my best to try to really knock him out. It is what it is. Everything happens for a reason.
Just at the end of the fight then as well, you shared a few words as James handed you the tricolour to raise up. Do you remember off the top of your head what James said to you at that time?
He said, raise his fucking banner. I'm going to raise it out of respect because you beat me fair and square. I'm not a sore loser. I was told, when you fall, you get up and live a happy day. People enjoyed the fight. In all honesty, I made this fight exciting. People didn't know about this fight. They didn't know who I was. They was like, oh, just another Irish guy who's ready to fight. They wanted to see who is this entertaining guy and what's the build-up, and hey, whatever happens, happens. We made this a very successful night, with Severe Media, all you guys. We made this a very successful show. The last show of the year was very exciting.
Yeah, and I think you got his respect on the feet as well, because in the post-fight interview he did say like that he felt you were quite strong, strong in the clinch, and he felt that you may not rock him, but he definitely felt your power.
Yeah, definitely. Like he was strong, but I knew he was never close near my strength. It's just I really couldn't get position because the canvas is really kind of slippery when you're dealing with don't know the material of the canvas, but it's really hard to get in position on that. But he has strength. He's 20 years old. He's still in his teenage strength. When he gets to in his 20s, that's when he'll start developing men's strength in his 20s strength. So I had him. I knew I was in no type of danger, honestly. I knew I was safe, in no danger at all. I just got caught with something stupid, giving up my back so soon, and that's what happens when you do little mistakes.
You said previously you're not a millionaire, and if you were, you would be sitting on your couch watching fights. You spoke to my colleagues before the fight about your background and about fighting, not just to change your life, but a lot of people's lives back home, about trying to help out. The show aside, and Anthony Taylor, the character aside, just being on this big stage and fighting in Bellator across the other side of the world, is that helping change and create change like you wanted to back home?
Oh yeah, man. Like I tell all the young kids, man, I've been starting. I fighted and started training MMA 2 years ago. No background, no nothing. Now if I can do it, a regular average Joe can get up and go to the gym, work out 3 to 4 times a week, and bust his ass off and get in that cage. It's not hard. You don't need a belt ranking. You don't need high school or college collegiate wrestling. You don't need none of that. All you need is a great work ethic, a great attitude, which will take you along the way to the top, and just believe in yourself. And I see these young adults, young kids who are growing up, not just young men, but young girls growing up with no father figure, and it hurts me because like, who's there to teach you the wrong and right things, And then we see how the system is, and we see a big ratio of kids dropping out of high school because they don't have that parental support. So that's why I want to give the message to young kids, like, hey, you don't need to have this education or this ability. As long as you just have a good attitude and a great work ethic, it can take you a long ways.
Forget Donald Trump, Anthony Taylor for president.
There you go. Hey, free ice cream every Tuesday for the day, every year. We're good. Let's make